woman for the most extreme side of the Republican Party, and in some ways, I could be the poster woman for the opposite. What's the opposite?
The opposite is the more moderate Republicans, is the Republicans that think where we have gone wrong is by being so extreme in our attitudes. And I think inadvertently, and maybe on purpose with these columns, I am started speaking out, and I guess I am the only one speaking out right now, at least this publicly, and so that's why people are saying that
no one else has the balls to take on Ann Coulter.
The moderate side of
Why? I don't know.
But have no doubt the Republican Party is split into
She's just
halves
a
of where they think
mean,
the Republican
spiteful
Party should go.
twat.
There are people that think we should go back to our conservative roots, become extreme conservative. Mike Huckabee says that quite often, and there are people like me that think we need to be more moderate and reach out to people.
See, I think that that's what it seems like, but then one of the most well-known politicians who I would put on your side of it, on the moderate side of it, would be Tim Pawlenty, the governor of Minnesota. And I asked him that same question last week, and I said, do you think the party needs to become more moderate as it reinvents himself? And he said, no, we need to stick with our conservative principles. And it made me think that it's not okay, politically okay, to articulate the sort of thing that you're articulating, that's sort of hitting a third rail of Republican politics right now. Do you feel like you really are hitting a nerve?
I do think I am, and I think also, but why I can't is I'm not running for office, and I will never run for office, and I love the Republican Party, and I'm trying to help it, and I know I have become controversial, and my statements are controversial, but I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think it was important.
She's smart, who knew?
I don't have to be doing this, but I love writing, I love the Daily Beast, and I've seen a lot, I've done a lot, and this is what I really believe.
One of the reasons that I really wanted to talk to you is because when we think about presidential families and political families, we often think about, especially the young people in those families, trying to stay out of the public eye, trying to avoid becoming public people. But you have really sort of asked to be, as you say, this is the poster child for moderate republicanism. You have really chosen to be in the public eye. Was that a hard decision for you, or did it feel like the only obvious choice?
I've always been a writer, and then doing the blog on the campaign really raised my profile. And then afterward, I said, I still have this platform now. What am I going to do with it? Do I just say no and fade away? But it's not really in my nature.
Columbia, I forgot that.
I've seen a lot, and I've experienced a lot. Especially, I've had a front seat to presidential politics and what is wrong and very right with the Republican Party. And I'm just trying to say what I think, and I'm so glad people are responding. And I am so flattered that people are reading it and listening to me.
I imagine, when I try to put myself in your shoes, that it must have been, and it must continue to be, hard to see your dad criticized, especially the sort of gloves-off criticism that you get in a presidential campaign. But yet, in your career, you're picking a fight with Ann Coulter. I wonder if your reaction to seeing your dad in the arena, in the political arena in that way, made you sort of want to be the one having those fights yourself. Because you picked a fight with somebody who's definitely going to fight back.
Yeah. Well, if it was, if it was too hot in the kitchen, I'd get out.
Ha ha! Good for you, girl.
And I know that I'm creating, I know she probably will respond, she already has, but I'm sure she'll respond harder. But this dialogue should take place. It should. I think that, oftentimes, and I think it's relevant because I am a Republican. I still consider myself a Republican, and that's why it's relevant, because I'm someone within the party criticizing itself. But unless we have dialogues, unless Republicans can come on shows like yours, unless, people like you can go on Fox, we're never going to create a dialogue, and we're never going to meet in the middle. And I think there's extreme on both parties, and I hate extreme. I don't understand. I have friends that are the most radically conservative and radically liberal people possibly ever, and we all get along. We can find a middle ground. And I think it's a generational thing. I'm 24, and I think possibly people that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, it's different.
On the issue of the age divide, and I guess I think about this in terms of politicians and in terms of just regular folks. I know, for example, because I follow you on Twitter, that you met with a New York realtor today, that you're looking for a New York apartment. I know when you talk to your parents on the phone, I know all these really specific things about you, and you probably know a lot of things about me from Twitter. I wonder if that's one of the big age divides, that younger people, we just have a totally different expectations about what counts as a private life and what we'll let people know about ourselves. And maybe that has some political manifestations, too, that older politicians or sort of old generation politicians aren't willing to let people know anything about themselves.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a generational thing, definitely. I mean, my father's Twittering a lot, which I think is really funny, and my mom Twitters now, too. But I think for me personally, part of it's my personality. Like, my friends always joke that if you meet me in an elevator, I'll tell you my life story and my secrets, because I don't really have any. And I'm open, that's why I love blogging, and I blogged about my dating life. I love being open. I love telling people my experiences, because I think people are curious. I'm curious about your life. How did you get here? How did it happen?
Why are you a lesbian?
I always want to tell people, because people are curious. What's it like to have a guy run for president? What's it like to have John McCain as a father? And I'll tell you every single second. And I think the reason why I'm so different is because politicians' children in the past are so quiet and they want a very private life, and that's great, that's their choice, but this is mine.
Meghan, would you do me the favor of sticking around for a second while we make money for the General Electric Corporation? We'll be right back.
Sure.
Thank you. Meghan McCain is here. She's the daughter of former Republican presidential candidate.
Thank you, Rachel. That was very cool.
Excuse me, John McCain. She's now a contributor to Daily Beast. We will be right back with Meghan McCain.